Biff, you there? There is on features, ABC News features, I'm not going to run it today, but you might want to download it and hold it. America Strong, Jason Nathanson. It's a 640 piece, but it says it's going to be the start of a series. And I'm not sure how long or how often they're going to do the series. I want to wait and see more about it. But why don't you download that so you've got it, because otherwise it'll get lost in the shuffle as the days go by. It's under features, Jason Nathanson, America Strong. Correct. I don't know enough about what they're doing here. I want to wait and see if they're going to do every day or once a week or something, and before I decide what to do with it. But let's get it so you don't have to try and track it down when we decide to use it. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right.
Before his body was found, 7 people were arrested in May in connection with his death. I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network.
Live and local conversation for the Ohio Valley continues shortly, here on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection.
This is Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott DeMauro.
As we face uncertainties over how this new school year will go, we know there are major challenges ahead. Approaches to reopening schools will vary, but the health and safety of students, school staff, and communities must always be the top priority. One thing is certain, whether teaching online or in person, Ohio's educators are dedicated to every student's success.
Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Hey there, what are you doing today? Would whatever it is be easier with faster, more reliable home internet? If you said yes, we have good news. Today and tomorrow, go to Viasat.com/connect now and save up to $150 on select home plans. That's Viasat.com/connect now. Minimum 24-month service term. Service is not available in all areas. See Viasat.com for additional terms and conditions.
Hey man, what can I get you?
Yeah, can I have 2 Coors Lights?
You got it. Hey Mike! I need 2 Coors Lights!
Sure thing.
With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go.
Thanks, Mike. Doing a great job. All right, 2 ice-cold Coors Lights.
That's the coldest beer I've ever had.
Hey, they don't call it the world's most refreshing beer for nothing.
Okay, be honest with me. Do you really have the Rocky Mountains in your beer cooler?
You don't believe it? Check it out.
Man, that's pretty amazing.
I know, right? I can't believe it myself sometimes. I mean, this cooler is only 3 feet wide.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 want to thank the owners and contractors of the Ohio Valley for using their locally trained workers to help build for the future. Local 83 helps design, fabricate, and build the gas infrastructure for the oil and gas industry here in the Ohio Valley. Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 is 300 members strong and growing. They also do residential, commercial, and industrial work on both sides of the river. For more information, call Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 at 304-233-4445.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your Monday. A mix of sun and clouds, a daytime high of 85 degrees. Mainly clear overnight, 66 for the low. Clouds and sunshine mixing for your Tuesday with highs in the mid to upper 80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
You guys, you know what? You're nuts.
This show is full of nuts.
You're all nuts.
Full of nuts?
We're really lucky, aren't we?
Why is that?
Because today is National Peanut Day.
It's National Peanut Day.
Peanuts? Good grief. More peanuts?
I hope there aren't any peanuts in these peanuts.
What, are we getting too classy for peanuts?
He likes peanuts.
Celebrate National Peanut Day.
It's showtime! Live from the Robinson Auto Group studios in the heart of the Ohio Valley, this is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
70 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, moving up just a little bit at the airport. It's moving up more here at the home studio. 75 degrees, partly cloudy at my home studios here in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling, and 75 at the Robinson Auto Group studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Cloudy, warm, humid for the day today. Going to be a high of 83, excuse me. Going to be a warm week all week long. Some rain coming in significantly on Wednesday. What are we looking at today? COVID, a big story. Ohio County schools, only 1 of 4 statewide with no mask mandates. The school board meets tonight to maybe reconsider their decision on that. The latest COVID numbers from Howard Gamble at the health department earlier this morning, close to 200 new cases in the past week. 75 of them were 18 and under. We talked about booster shots and a few other matters as well. I'll have Howard's comments on our podcast page at watchdognetwork.com coming up later on today. Across the valley and across the nation, America remembered 9/11 this weekend. We'll hear some of what was said, including former President Bush's comments on growing divisions in the country. And I've got to look at some of the weirdest poll questions that you may have ever heard, and I'll see how you will answer some of those. So I've got a lot of stuff that I want to share with you. If you have things on your mind, you can text me or call me. The CityNet hotline for phone calls is 304-232-8255, and the text line is 304-214-1600. Our friend Bob called us earlier this morning, and they had some comments about the newspaper, and Biff and I were kind of talking about it as well. You know, the local newspaper cut back one day's edition, which I completely understand. I still think that we are lucky to still have 2 newspapers, one afternoon, one evening. Yes, they're almost identical. Yes, the stories are very much the same. I know some of you think that the papers are too conservative, and they probably have a more conservative bent than I like, but I like newspapers, and I think we're lucky to at least have the 2 papers in town. And I understand, because I'm a businessman as well, and I understand how tough business is, and we make decisions here that people go, why in the world would you do that? That's not the right thing to do. So I don't like to second guess people. The only second guessing that I was having, Biff and I were talking about, was I still don't fully understand why the newspaper, so they cut back on one day's publishing. They don't publish on Sundays. But they call it the Saturday paper, the Sunday News Register. And I still don't get that. Why don't we just call it the Saturday paper? Anyway, our buddy Bob was complaining about that. And Esther says off the text line, I agree with your caller. I don't know what's going on with the paper. The price went up. Yeah, I guess the price did go up, too. My wife was, I won't say complaining, but certainly commenting on that when Teddy's picture was in the paper. This is one thing everybody gets a paper for, Biffy. When you got your own picture in the paper or story about it, you run out and buy extra copies. Right?
You buy extra, you cut it out, you put it on the refrigerator, and it sits there with the drawings and whatever else they made you.
So we get the paper delivered to the house in the evening with the evening paper. I read mine online. I don't even look at the paper most of the time. But we haven't been to a newspaper box. So Nancy went to the newspaper box a few weeks ago to get pictures, get extra copies because Teddy's picture was in there. And she came and said, "Oh my God, I can't believe how much the newspaper costs." So anyways, apparently price has gone up. Esther says that. Sunday paper comes Saturday morning. Any games played Friday or Saturday, you have to wait till Monday to read about, and through the week, you're lucky if there's 6 total sheets and cartoons and landers, and many stories are repeats, and their answer is you can read it online. If I wanted to read it online, I wouldn't be getting a daily paper, is what she says. That's fair enough, right? Okay, I get that. I now buy, Esther says, a Sunday Pittsburgh paper, because you get your money's worth. Again, listen, I'm not going to join in all the criticism. I understand the way the business works. I understand newspapers like radio, like so many other things, are struggling to find a way to survive. And I am not in any way going to criticize, other than the choice of calling the Saturday paper Sunday. I'm not going to criticize the decision they made. In my mind, it might have been better to do a Sunday paper. Maybe, although then you wouldn't see anything about the Friday games until Sunday, Biff. So,
and again, that's why I think they chose to take if they had to pick a day and it came down to Saturday and Sunday, which it looks like it did. I think that's why they picked Sunday instead of Saturday, because again, you look when the football card is in the paper, and I don't know if it'll be in today or tomorrow, but the football card that has the games for Friday, when you look at that, by the time you get done and you get to Saturday, and again, I think this week there were only 4 games Saturday. This Saturday we had Central and Bel Air, Madonna, Bridgeport, Rosecrans and Steubenville Catholic, and Lindsley went to I'm losing my voice. Lindsley went to Youngstown, and they played Cardinal Mooney. So you had 4 games Saturday, and you may only have maybe 1 or 2 more. So say you have 6 at the most on a Saturday. Compare that with that card for Friday. There's close to 30 games that are going to be played on Friday night. So I think they looked at that and they said, well, gee, it's easier to push the games from Saturday to Monday because there's few than it would be to push close to 30 games from Friday to Sunday.
And that's pretty good thinking, Biff. And also, I think people are more rabid about reading about their high school games because college games, WVU, OSU, Notre Dame, whatever.
Pitt and Penn State.
We can get those on television. We watch the whole, if we're interested, we watch it. The national coverage will include that. Yes, the TV stations do a nice job. Channel 7 does a great job with their Sports Zone on Friday night. But I think, I get to Paper's point. Probably what the Ohio Valley wants, certainly this time of year, is to get up on Saturday morning and read the synopsis of Friday night's high school game. So I get that. Got a text on my personal text line here. You're just trying to suck up to McCabe. Does anybody who's listened to this show think I suck up to McCabe? Just out of curiosity, do you think I suck up to McCabe? I don't think there's any sucking up going on, although he is a very good friend of mine.
You guys agree every once in a while, but
We do.
I think for the most part, you disagree, but you do it in a good way. I'll say that.
And again, my perspective is, I get how hard it is to manage the business of information reporting, right? I mean, Biff, you can tell the audience better than I can. How many complaints do we get about things that we do, right?
Oh, I know, and I mean, it can be the smallest thing that people go crazy about.
And we make some decisions, and sometimes, you know what? Sometimes we make some decisions that I say, geez, I wish we weren't doing this. But it's what you got to do. I mean, so Bob always gets us off on Gets us off on something. All right, let's do some business, and then I want to talk about some things happening in the nation's capital, including Senator Manchin, who is really throwing a stumbling block in the way of one of Biden's next big deals. And Andrew Yang says he wants to see a third political party, and Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett has some concerns about the partisanship that people feel is coming from the court. I got all of this straight ahead on the Watchdog Morning Show. It's 9:20 after the hour on a Monday.
Hi, it's Hoppy Kercheval inviting you to join me weekdays.
No, you can do DC Digest intro, that's fine. And we'll do political insights as part of that. Okay, good. Sounds good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Uh-oh. Hold it for 40 minutes, Biff. All right.
The law office of Paul Harris wants you to know you aren't alone. Do you need someone that's not afraid to go to trial and fight for your rights? Attorney Paul Harris and his team are willing to go where most firms are not. The courtroom. With a successful track record in civil litigation, criminal defense, including tax issues and healthcare fraud, Harris Law Office will fight for their clients by offering the most aggressive representation in and out of court. Call Paul Harris at Harris Law Office for a free consultation. 304-232-5300.
Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands is the perfect place to relax after a long day. Happy hour from 3 to 6 Monday through Friday. Get $2 off appetizers, $3 off domestic drafts, and house wine specials. Quaker Steak and Lube, voted Best Wings USA. Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands with another steal of a deal. Get a steak burger and fries all day Monday for only $8.99. It's also Military Mondays. The Lube will take 25% off for all veterans, active duty military, and first responders. Quaker Steak and Lube, voted Best Wings USA.
Are you traveling? Working a little bit too much? Is your fur baby starting to get a little shaggy? Let Dirty Paws be your one-stop shop for all of your pet care needs. Stop in and see us at 202 18th Street or give us a call at 304-639-7754 to schedule your appointments for dog grooming, doggy daycare, and dog boarding today.
Friday nights in the fall are reserved for high school football, and the 20-year tradition continues on Metro News. It's Summit Community Bank High School Game Night with Fred Persinger and Dave Jecklin, celebrating 20 years of bringing you up-to-the-minute scores, conference standings, player and coach interviews, and more. Tune in all season long to follow your favorite school. Friday nights from 9:30 to midnight. Summit Community Bank High School Game Night on this Metro News station.
Live and local for the Ohio Valley, the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues. Here's some of the news from the nation's capital you'll be talking about today. This is the DC Digest on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Well, here in the Ohio Valley and around West Virginia, a lot of talk about Senator Manchin yesterday. He was on, I think, 3 different national shows, including Meet the Press. And his message, among other things, Manchin's message basically was he will not support the $3.5 trillion proposal pending from President Biden and desired by Nancy Pelosi. And of course, in the 50-50 Senate split, with Kamala Harris being the deciding vote as the president of the Senate, without Manchin's vote, the bill cannot pass, unless some Republican can be convinced to cross the aisle, which I think is highly unlikely. On the news shows yesterday, Manchin said he does not like raising the corporate tax rate up to 28%, and he's opposed to the extensive new social spending in the bill. Senator Manchin is never going to change his party. I firmly believe that. I believe he is a Democrat. I believe his heart is with the Democrats. But there are times when I think to myself, my God, Senator, you sound like a Republican here. And not that that's necessarily bad. There are things that I agree with Republicans on as well. But I don't want to raise the corporate tax rate. I don't want to tax corporations more. Why not? Why don't we tax corporations more? You got a couple of corporations like Amazon and I think Facebook too, but Amazon, they don't pay any taxes. Why don't we raise their rates and try and get some money from them? Doesn't that make some sense? And he was not going to support extensive new social spending, which, again, I understand his argument, but I don't agree with it. Manchin's comments were among the key items in this weekend's Political Insights.
Now your political insights from ABC News. President Biden's $3.5 trillion budget plan and his $1 trillion infrastructure package may be in trouble. Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia raising concerns over cost and the timetable, pushing for a strategic pause on both bills. With a 50-50 Senate, Democrats can't afford to lose Manchin's vote. A final day of campaigning before California's recall election tomorrow against Governor Gavin Newsom. He's vying to keep his job over a pack of Republican candidates led by conservative radio host Larry Elder.
I'm going to be a uniter when I become governor. I'm going to use my bully pulpit to unite us because we have far more in common than we have apart.
Critics want Newsom ousted in part for his tough pandemic restrictions. Secretary of State Antony Blinken goes before the House Foreign Affairs Committee today to answer questions on Afghanistan, including the Taliban takeover, the U.S. troop withdrawal, and the frantic evacuation of Americans and Afghan allies. Those are your political insights. I'm Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Back to Manchin. When Manchin was asked yesterday on the national shows, you won't support $3.5 trillion spending bill. What will you support? Manchin said, well, maybe $1 trillion, maybe 1.5. He isn't really sure what that number will be. And he doesn't like raising the corporate tax rate from 21% to 28, maybe 25. Let's begin with the fact here. Almost no corporations pay the corporate tax rate. Almost none of them do. They, through tax, I don't call them, I guess they're loopholes, through tax loopholes and tax techniques, they reduce their rate down. So in the first place, almost none of them pay that. They don't pay that rate. So, and if we're going to do, and I guess the first part of this is that Senator Manchin doesn't want to do, I guess, as much social spending as Biden and Schumer and the other Democrats want to do. But if we're going to do that, then you got to pay for it, and certainly it's better to pay for it by taxing the very wealthy and the corporations who manage to skeet by far too much, anyways. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Will Biden, will Schumer try to negotiate with Manchin? Will they offer him something to get him up to the figure they want? Or will they come down to the number he wants? And he doesn't even know what the number is, apparently. You'll hear more about this from Senator Manchin himself coming up right after 10 o'clock with Hoppy Kercheval on Statewide Talk Line. And I got a little note here from someone who asked me, Howard, what do you think about Manchin's comments? Is this for real, or is he just posturing for people in his conservative state?
Both.
Yeah. Probably right, Biff.
I think it's both. I think he's he's doing taking a page out of Governor Justice's book with the mask mandate and trying to keep everybody happy. I think Manchin's trying to do the same thing here.
I think you're right. He's very aware that he is the only Democrat in our federal offices. There are the rest are Republicans, and we're in the deepest ruby red state there is in the country. So he's got to play a bit of a balancing act. So there's some politics involved here. I also, for better or ill, think that Senator Manchin really believes it's wrong. Again, I don't think Manchin is a Republican, and I don't think he'll ever change his party. I know we hear that that's never going to happen. But he has some strong feelings that lean to the right, and I think these are part of them. He doesn't, in particular, this corporate tax rate business. So we'll see. Again, Manchin himself on with Hoppy coming up after 10 o'clock this morning. Andrew Yang ran for the Democratic nomination for president, and he lost. He then ran for the 2021 New York City mayor's primary, the Democratic nomination, and he lost. But he got a lot of attention. He had a group of people, they called themselves the Yang Gang, who supported the former businessman in his political efforts. Politico magazine now says that Yang has left the Democratic Party and plans to launch a third political party. Now, here's my question, and y'all can respond on the text line or phone calls if you'd like to. Will we ever have a third political party of any substance in this country? Yes, we do have third political parties. There are minor parties that are out there. Same thing in West Virginia. We have the Libertarian Party. We have the Mountain Party. We have a few other parties that have some presence in the state. But it's basically the big two. It's basically the big two, Democrats and Republicans. Now, there is no question both of those parties are fracturing a bit. The Democratic Party is fracturing between the far left and the more moderate Democrats, and the Republican Party is fracturing between the Trumpites and those who wish they weren't Trumpites. So the parties are fracturing, but will we ever have a third political party? Biff, will there ever be a third significant political party in this country?
I think if the right person comes around and it's serious and they're willing to put the work in to do it, that it could happen.
But I think you hit the nail on the head. Every time there's been talk of a third political party, including this one with Andrew Yang, it always centers around a charismatic figure. There was talk of John Anderson many years ago forming a third political party. I'm trying to think of some of the others. There have been others who have said, I'm going to go out and form a third political party. But it only tends to be a party of personality. So could Andrew Yang create an entity called a third political party? Yes. Could he get some traction with that? Yes, because he's Andrew Yang. But once you went below Andrew Yang, you get down to, the state level of his party, the Yangites or whatever you would call them, it loses gumption because most of the time these are built around people and not around policies. I mean, the Democrats and the Republicans, for better or ill, have some defined policies that they stand for. Now, I will say this, Republicans more so than Democrats, but both parties have begun to sort of move away from their original premises. But it's going to be a long time before we get an actual third political party. People might want it. I think a lot of people want it, but I don't think you're going to see it, at least not for a long time. The newest member of the Supreme Court, Justice Amy Coney Barrett, yesterday said she is worried that the Supreme Court may be increasingly seen by the public as a partisan institution. And I think the public may view that way because they certainly are coming across that way. She was speaking at a lecture hosted by the University of Louisville in Kentucky. She says the media reporting of opinions does not capture the true deliberative process that's involved in reaching decisions. She says that the Supreme Court justices are, quote, hyper-vigilant, making sure they're not letting personal biases creep into their decisions, since judges are people too. I got to tell you, it seems to me that we are more and more seeing, and yes, right now it is certainly leaning far to the right, in my opinion. We've seen it in the past to the left as well. I think we're seeing the political points of view becoming more and more a part of who these justices are. And we know that because of the way the confirmation hearings have gone. With Brett Kavanaugh, for example, Democrats wildly opposed and raising significant objections, and the Republicans just basically coddling him all the way through. Same thing with Amy Coney Barrett, but to a lesser extent. So I think that I don't know. She says that it's not correct. It's a partisan. They're not a partisan court. I think, I don't know, maybe they are. And finally, in our DC Digest over the weekend, it was a lot of memories of 9/11. President Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Joe Biden all stood at the site of the deadly attacks at the World Trade Center, as others had offered speeches. On the split screen was President George W. Bush. He was at the Flight 93 Memorial in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Donald Trump was offering commentary on a wrestling match. Well, not a wrestling match, a boxing match. Seemed a little out of touch with the 9/11 stuff, but he did show up at a New York City police headquarters, I think it was police headquarters, and complained about the big lie. But while you have all of the other ex-presidents showing up and solemnly commemorating 9/11, Trump used it to promulgate the big lie again. It was stolen from me. My election was stolen. And then he left it and went on to offer commentary on a pay-per-view boxing match. Was it boxing, Biff? Is that what he did? Boxing, right?
I believe it was.
I think it was boxing, yeah. George W. Bush yesterday I keep saying yesterday, it was over the weekend, offered some comments that I thought were really important. Of course, it was under the George W. Bush administration that we went into Afghanistan, that we were attacked. 9/11 happened on his watch. I said earlier this morning, I do commend George W. Bush. He rose to the occasion and became the unifying president that I think we needed at that time. I think he screwed things up a little bit later on in the follow-up on it, but I think he really rose to the occasion. But he has an understanding of where we were and where we are. And at the Flight 93 Memorial yesterday, he warned that we still have got to be very vigilant about the threats, both foreign and domestic.
Former President George W. Bush, commander-in-chief 20 years ago when the 9/11 attacks unfolded, spoke at the memorial site of victims of Flight 93 in Shanksville, Pennsylvania.
20 years ago, we all found in different ways, in different places, but all at the same moment, that our lives would be changed forever.
Honoring the nearly 3,000 victims who died when terrorists hijacked commercial planes and crashed them into the Twin Towers in New York City, the Pentagon, and in that remote field in Shanksville after passengers and crew fought back against the hijackers.
The terrorists soon discovered that a random group of Americans is an exceptional group of people.
The former president praising the heroism and also reflecting on the terrorism from afar that struck U.S. soil and what he called a similar threat that Americans face now from within.
There's little cultural overlap between violent extremists abroad and violent extremists at home. But in their disdain for pluralism, in their disregard for human life, in their determination to defile national symbols, they are children of the same foul spirit.
Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Boy, I like that phrase, children of the same foul spirit. Foreign terrorists and domestic terrorists. And domestic terrorists were essentially part of the January 6th insurrection, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many folks who are smarter than I am. And in my preaching yesterday in Barnesville, and it was not the subject of my sermon, I simply offered a few comments about, Biffy, how far we have come in this country from February 12th. Everybody talks about February 11th when we all were just, our jaws were on the ground and we were just in awe and in fear of what was happening. February 12th was the day where we all began to come together. We began to show love and respect for the firefighters and the police officers who went into the building. We grieved with those who lost their lives. We were angry at those who did this to us. We weren't Democrats, Republicans, young, old, rich, poor. We were just Americans on September the 12th. And we were very unified, and nobody was calling anybody names except Muslims. We were calling Muslims names, and that's a whole different story. And how far we've come from that. We are nothing but divided now. Nothing but divided now. And I think Bush made a pretty strong point about that.
Yeah, and
as I said,
And you go back to and you think about what unites us is sports and everything, and you look at George Bush throwing the first pitch back at old Yankee Stadium, which seems weird to call it old, but compared to what it is now, it was old Yankee Stadium. Him throwing the first pitch, NFL games with the national anthem being played, and just the feeling that we had, to go back to sports and everything, and that unity there, and just how much the different it is now with the divide, which is, and the sad thing is the divide's not small. I mean, it's a wide divide, and it only seems like it's getting more apart than it is to at least try and come to the middle on things.
Yeah, it's not small, and it's not singular. It's not just a divide between. It's not just like one divide. Some people everybody. There's like dozens of divides. We're all off in our own little corners. And instead of raising our fists, as we did on September 12th, instead of raising our fists at a common enemy, we're raising our fists at each other. And I don't know what the solution is. I truly don't. What I do know is it's time for some headlines from our friends at Metro News, and also Billy D's got our final sports report of the morning. Then we'll head up to the Big Seven, see what they're working on today, and before you know it, it'll be 10 o'clock, and I'm going to get some food because I'm hungry. I wonder if my wife brought me anything. Yeah, I'm guessing not. I'm guessing not, but I'm hungry. So
you can at least ask.
Well, it can't hurt to ask. You're right.
What's she going to tell you? No, you're on your own.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what she's going to tell me. Honey, I would really like some sausage gravy and biscuits. Well, I don't know what you're going to do about it. You can get it yourself, because I'm not going to get it for you. But she'll say it with love. I'm watching the door. Watching the door. Could open it any minute. Oh, God. Let's go to the news desk, Biffy.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro.
And we wanted to make sure it was an inclusive and a transparent process.
That intermediate court begins hearing cases next July. Governor Jim Justice's latest briefing on the coronavirus comes at 11. You'll be able to watch it at WVMetroNews.com. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. The State Department of Health and Human Resources now listing active COVID cases at more than 27,000 in West Virginia. The agency confirmed more than 2,200 new cases. In Sunday's dashboard report, there were no new deaths added. Again, the governor's briefing this morning is at 11. You can see it at WVMetroNews.com. The Wheeling, Ohio County Health Department says since September 5th, it has recorded 75 cases for children under the age of 18. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Chris Lawrence.
In Buffalo, the Steelers surprised the favorite Bills by beating them 23-16. Let's hear from head coach Mike Tomlin of the Steelers.
But obviously, one weekend is not going to write your story. It's just good to
coming in an environment against an AFC giant, if you will, defending AFC East champs, and get a win in September.
Yes, a total team win, according to quarterback Ben Roethlisberger, who completed 18 of 32 for 188 yards and 1 touchdown.
This was a team win. Offense, defense, special teams, and that's what I think I'm most proud about.
The zillion-dollar man, T.J. Watt, 2 sacks, forced a fumble.
No, I felt really fresh, and I think I kind of said that this week. I felt fresh all week, and never want to get too confident with how I felt because I didn't know coming into a game atmosphere and obviously all the hype and adrenaline that comes with it.
1-0 Steelers host the Las Vegas Raiders Sunday at Heinz Field. Speaking of the Raiders, they host the Baltimore Ravens tonight on Monday Night Football. In the NFC North, the Bengals surprised the Vikings in overtime, 27-24. The Browns lost a close one in Kansas City. The Chiefs beat them 33-29. Let's hear from Cleveland quarterback Baker Mayfield.
That's the thing that we've been building on, is critical situations we have to be able to execute, and we did early on in the game, obviously not in the second half.
Sunday night, in case you missed it, if you're a Bears fan, you probably went to bed early. The Rams all over the Bears, 34-14. Baseball note, at PNC Park, the Nationals beat the Pirates 6-2. The Pirates are back in action Tuesday night when they host the Cincinnati Reds. I'm Bill DeFabio on sports, and we are the Watchdog.
Oh, there's something so real about living local, and I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I love living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I love living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
Wheeling Coin and Hobby on 10th Street in Wheeling, next to the Bridge Tavern in downtown Wheeling, wants to buy any and all unwanted gold and silver jewelry. They are paying top dollar for 10, 14, 18, and 22 karat gold plus 925 sterling silver. They also want to buy collectible coins and paper money from before 1933. Wheeling Coin and Hobby is open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Saturday. Coin and Hobby, 304-232-8430, and add them on Facebook.
Are you or your loved ones facing a serious legal battle? The law office of Paul Harris wants you to know you aren't alone. Do you need someone that's not afraid to go to trial and fight for your rights? Attorney Paul Harris and his team are willing to go where most firms are not. The courtroom. With a successful track record in civil litigation, criminal defense, including tax issues and healthcare fraud, Harris Law Office will fight for their clients by offering the most aggressive representation in and out of court. Call Paul Harris at Harris Law Office for a free consultation. 304-232-5300.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection.
West Virginia Outdoors is the Mountain State's only hook and bullet radio show, dedicated to the more than 250,000 hunters and anglers across the state. Award-winning host Chris Lawrence has been tracking down hunting and fishing stories for more than 25 years.
Went in behind a little birch tree its head. I reached down and got the bow positioned and found its horns and dropped down and shot it in the neck.
Whether it's hunting and fishing news,
it tracks real super well, but not with a 60-pound carp tied to the side.
Or just compelling stories about the enjoyment of the great outdoors.
How close did you let him get in before you let fly on him?
He was about 18 yards, Chris. He got turned in the right angle there, and I touched off the trigger, and when I hit him, he ran kind of up the hill, which scared me at first.
West Virginia Outdoors covers it all. Saturday mornings at 7:06 a.m. And for your daily fix, Outdoors Today brings you 2.5 minutes of news and notes from the woods and water every weekday morning. No one covers the great outdoors like Chris Lawrence. And Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
This guy knows so much about sports.
They based the sports almanac from Back to the Future off of his dream journal. He's Bill DeFabio, weekdays noon to 2 on the Valley's only network dedicated to live and local talk radio, The Watchdog.
Watch out! He could climb on his soapbox at any time. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
I'm not going to climb on the soapbox, but I am going to just shake my head at some of the stuff that happens. Bippy, we talked about the divisions in society and so on, and these school board meetings are getting out of hand. I'm not talking anything local here. This is out of Tennessee. Down in Rutherford County, Tennessee, they were having one of these school board meetings to discuss mask mandates at that particular in that particular county, and one of their students, Grady Knox, was speaking in favor of the mask mandate last week. And he began talking about his grandmother. He said, last year, my grandmother, who was a former teacher in this school system, died of COVID because someone wasn't wearing a mask. And he said his grandmother died of COVID. And a group of people, protesters behind him, began to laugh at him and shaking their heads and holding up those signs. Let our kids smile. At one point, someone in the background yelled, just shut up! This kid's talking about his grandmother dying, and this is the kind of response that he gets. The kid was pretty good, though. He looked around, saw everybody being rude and inappropriate, and then he just continued. By not wearing a mask in schools, it's irresponsible, and that's what helped kill my grandmother. What kind of world are we in, Biffy, where that's the way people... I mean, I know that there's a lot of yelling and screaming and pounding of fists and, you know, you're stealing our liberty. But a kid, he's a kid. And he's talking about his grandmother dying of COVID. And they laughed at him and told him to shut up. What kind of world are we in? And I guess I'm just too old.
Well, and it shows something too, that when the kid can actually be the adult in the room, yes, and you know, have that kind of composure. Because I tell you what, if it were me, I probably wouldn't have had the same composure that kid had, because I probably would have been down there in about 2 seconds, and they would have had to have gotten me off somebody, because I'd have been throwing punches.
Yep. You got to give him a lot of credit. He said he looked at the crowd, looked at them laughing at him, looked at them telling him to shut up, took a deep pause, and then went right on with his presentation, what he had to say. I'm looking here to see whether the story passed that mask mandate or not. I don't know if that school board did or not. It was down in Rutherford County, Tennessee. But it's just, what kind of world are we in where you heckle a student talking about his grandmother dying of COVID?
And the student turns out to be the responsible one out of the group.
Yep. Bob Westfall's with us from the Big Seven. Good morning, Bob.
Morning, Howard. How are you?
Well, it's Monday, but I'm actually hungry. Now, I know you to make a joke about I'm always hungry.
Nope.
But I'm really hungry this morning.
Nope, I was not going to make a joke about. I was going to make a joke about what you said about being old, but I wasn't going to make anything about being.
Well, at least you're consistent. Just continue to pick on the old guy and not worry about it. He's hungry. How was your weekend?
Hey, you know what? What do I hear from the office? Brenda's office. Did you say that? Aww. Oh, Howard. Well, now you got my boss against me. I hope you're happy.
Well, I don't want her against you. I just want her to be aware of the things you say to me, Bob. I'm an old guy. My feelings get hurt.
Well, this puts me up to it.
That I believe. That I absolutely believe.
Nah, this is an innocent bystander.
Oh, yeah, right.
That's right. Bob knows. Bob knows. I'm on the dance floor dancing.
We've worked too long together. I know what Biffy does there. I understand how that works. I got it. Oh, well. So what are you working on today? Something new and exciting, I hope?
Some of the things we're working on, DHHR has announced they will be discontinuing contact tracing. Looks like they'll be contacting one person and maybe the person who may have the COVID-19 and then immediate family members. But beyond that, it doesn't look like they're going to be doing any contact tracing. We're going to get some reaction from the Ohio County Health Department and see what they're saying about the situation, because it seems like for the last year and a half, that's all they've talked about is how important contact tracing is. So we're going to get an update on why this is changing and how this will change the game of tracking down the progression of COVID.
I had Howard Gamble on this morning, and I had a note on my pad to ask him about contact tracing, and I didn't. So I'll look forward to hearing what he says to you guys, because I wanted to talk about that, and I didn't have time to get into it. So I'm glad that you'll have a chance to talk about that.
All right, so we're going to talk about that. We're also going to check in on Marshall County as they begin their mask procedures. Today is the day they're asking students to wear the masks. So we're going to follow up on that this afternoon, see how things are going. I know there was a group, I don't know what size it was, held a meeting late last week, quite upset with the mask procedure. So we're going to find out what's going on, how things are going down in Marshall County. So we'll be updating that story as well. A couple Board of Ed
later today, and it won't be a daytime story, I assume, because I think they don't meet until evening, but Ohio County School Board meets to talk about that again today as well, I think.
Right. Yeah, we will be there live. We'll be there tonight. Stephen Moore will be covering that Board of Education meeting. We'll be at the Brooke County Board of Ed. They recently had a teacher pass away, so we're going to kind of follow up on that. We'll be at a couple different Board of Ed meetings tonight. So we will have that story. We do know it's on the agenda. So we'll be covering those as well this evening. So a little bit of everything today. A little bit of rain, I don't think till Wednesday. So Aaron's been following that. Dr. Dave will have it tonight. And sports, the Steelers with a huge upset in Buffalo. So the boss has been walking on air since she came in. So.
But as I understand it, she's surrounded by a handful of you folks over there that aren't Steeler fans, right?
Yeah, John Lynch is a Dolphins fan. I'm a Seahawks fan. Nolte is a Cowboys fan. I think who else?
What about Catherine?
Yeah, we don't know what she is. I mean, let's be honest, she roots for Pitt. Okay?
What do you expect for someone who roots for Pitt? I get you.
Hey, be nice to Catherine. She's a yellow jacket like I am. Come on now.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. So, but you know what? I assume she's a Steelers fan. I mean, I don't know. I'm a Seahawks fan. John's a big Dolphins fan. Cowboys for Scotty. I'm trying to think who else. About it off the top of my head, but yeah, I mean.
So you're a multicultural newsroom, so to speak.
When it comes to NFL football, yeah, I think we're a little bit everything. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's good.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, listen, we'll check you out today at noon, 5, 6, 10, 11, 5:30, the statewide show with Mark Curtis, and of course, always watching what's happening at WTRF.com. And download the app, my friends. You should get the Storm Tracker 7 app on your phone or your tablet, and the new WTRF TV 7 News app as well. And then you're fully informed wherever you are. It's right there in your pocket, in your hand, or whatever.
Right. So, yeah, if you don't have those apps, you really need it, especially heading into the fall and then the winter weather for the weather app. And then, like I said, if you want to know what the latest going on in the news, you have it right there on your phone.
All right, Bob, sounds good. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, guys. Talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks a lot. Bob Westfall from the Big 7, WTRF TV. If the one thing, well, there are a couple things I didn't get to today, and I'm going to hold a couple of these. One of the things I did not get to were these weird survey questions, and I'll do them tomorrow just because I came across a bunch of them, and they were just so strange. Questions like, if your lifespan was increased by 50 years, but you had to step on a Lego brick a couple of times a day for the rest of your life, would you do it? What the hell kind of question is that?
Did they mean on purpose or is it accidental?
No, it would be when you least expect it. It'd be, but it's like you could have 50 years of life, but every once in a while you step on a Lego brick by accident. I'll step on a Lego brick for 50 years of life,
Yeah.
for God's sake. Anyways, I got a bunch of these. I'll do it tomorrow because I'm out of time. Biffy, I'll see you in the morning, 7 o'clock. We're going to go run the big gig. Are you back with me?
I am here for a Tuesday.
We're going to keep on doing it until we get it right.
That could be a long time.
Indeed.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Nation's largest school district.
All right, Biffy. It turned out, given that I didn't have a whole lot to work with today, I didn't do a whole lot of prep this weekend, so I talked to Howard Gamble, I think 10 o'clock last night when he sent out his latest release and got him on. We did pretty good. We didn't get back to that Bel Air thing, and maybe that's just as well until I look at that more, but we'll see. I wonder if there's going to be any kind of follow-up to that anywhere. We'll see. Yeah, that's the thing. And again, I want to look at that video. It looks like he did, but it's you know it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna look at it a little bit more, and we'll see. You know, the question. Hopefully the kid wasn't hurt. But you know, adults, especially coaches in a game, need to have themselves under better control. I get how emotions run high, but you know, you got to be under better control. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe we might take some time to talk about it again tomorrow. We'll have to see. I'm going to look at it a little bit more. See if there's any more follow-up to it any place else. All right. I think I'm home all day. I'm hungry. I got to get something to eat. I got to get something to eat. I've been hungry all morning. And if you need me, I guess I'll be around. Everything working okay? Everything work okay over the weekend as far as we know? I didn't listen to a lot of the game, but I tuned in to the game just to make sure it was working and sounding good. I thought it sounded pretty good. The Central game. Yeah. You can't. Can Jerry hear them? Can Jerry hear them? Ah, okay. Mm. Okay. Right. Right. Well, okay. All right. It's got to be a better way, but I'm not sure what it is. But anyways, you got through it with okay, right? Right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, yes, I would say yes, it would. Okay. All right, I listened to WVU a little bit. Again, I didn't listen to anything the whole way through, but sounded like it was working okay. So I just like to make sure everything's working all right. All right, and everything's working okay today, right? All right. I'll be home all day. If you need me, give me a call. Otherwise, I'll just talk to you in the morning. All right, as always, appreciate your help. Thanks. Bye.
West Virginia. So tune in weekdays right here on FM 98.1 and FM 97.7, The Watchdog.
Hello, everyone. From The Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster, with a look at your local weather forecast for your Monday. A mix of sun and clouds, a daytime high of 85 degrees. Mainly clear overnight, 66 for the low. Clouds and sunshine mixing for your Tuesday with highs in the mid to upper 80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From The Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
Dominating both AM and FM, The Watchdog is AM 1600 and 1370, FM 98.1 and 97.7. We are The Watchdog. The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Good morning. Welcome to Talk Line on the Metro News Radio Network.
Do not attempt to change the station. You are surrounded. We interrupt this program to bring you an emergency news bulletin. Repeat, this is an emergency bulletin. Keep your radio turned on.
Holy smoke. From the studios of the West Virginia Radio Corporation and the Metro News Radio Network, the voice of West Virginia, comes the most powerful radio show in West Virginia. This is Metro News Talk Live with Hoppy Kercheval.
Check set lineup link. Activated Telos telephone. Switch network control from Charleston to Morgantown.
Stand by. Q Hoppy. You're on.
Metro News Talk Line with Hoppy Kercheval is brought to you by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Good morning. Luke Weeks is our producer. Taylor Kennedy with a video stream. You can watch at WVMetroNews.com. The phone number is 1-800-765-8255. Text me, 304-TALK-304. Email me, talkline at WVMetroNews.com. Senator Joe Manchin all over the Sunday shows yesterday concerning the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill, which is the other big part of what the Biden administration and many Democrats want. And his opposition to that, not terribly surprising if you listen to this show, because he'd said as much previously, but when he opines in the Wall Street Journal that there